Can you see me now?
Yes, yes,
Pra-
yes, yes,
Praise the
yes.
Lord,
Welcome,
everyone.
welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome.
Amen.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome home.
All right, all right, all right. Yes, yes, yes. This is the Positive Forces Show. Always giving you more, sending you positive vibes
to change your life.
I'm your host, Kimone Hall.
And I'm your co-host, Yola, Yoli.
Hey, in the house. Oh my God, what's going on, ladies?
Ooh, I'm good.
Good. All right, and ready to get started. And we got a gentleman. We can't forget the gentleman that's in here. Look at you, looking all great. I want to look great like you, Apostle.
That's my positive forces.
Say it again.
That's my positive forces.
That's your positive forces. I'm trying to see if our volume is gonna cooperate
You don't
with us
hear me?
today. You're kind of low. We heard you, but the volume is a little low, but that's fine for now. Just a little tad. I wonder if everybody can hear you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna see if people can hear. So we're gonna ask guys, can y'all hear Apostle Grant? Can y'all hear Apostle?
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
All right. All right, let's go.
They can hear me?
I mean, we can hear you, but I wonder if they can. I'm wondering if they can. I wonder if they can. All right, all right. There's someone that's.
I'm like your co-host. I'm
So,
ready
she
to go. I
said
want to
yes.
hear
All right,
this
family said yes.
information.
Look, Brooklyn in the house. She said yes. She can hear you. All right, amazing, amazing. Miss Dwan, Mrs. Dwan, how are you, ma'am?
I'm doing well. I'm ready to get started. Mission to share, so do it.
Yeah. All right, all right, all right, all right. So introduce yourself again.
Yes, the name is Dwan Bland. I'm a licensed therapist. I'm here today to talk about mental health in relationships. I'm sure people have experienced it before, not really knowing what it is. So then we're gonna try to help you identify it and give you some steps to try to push through it.
Yeah, push through it. That's the key word.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, push through it. How was your week, y'all?
That was good.
Yeah, my week was good. No complaints. I could, but what's the point?
We're here to listen with positivity.
Right.
Apostle, how was your week, sir?
Well, I'm like your co-host. I can't complain. I can explain, but I can't complain. No, God's been good to me. I can't.
Yeah.
I
You
like
got
that.
your
I
here
can't
to
explain, but
listen
I can't
positively.
complain.
God's been good. Huh? He's been extremely kind. Lost a
He's
few
been
people that I
extremely
know this
kind.
week, but God's been kind. Yes.
All right, all right. Want to welcome our family. You choose radios, Dying Highness Radio, Viscosity Blend Radio. Oh my God, guys. We just Reggae Global Radio family. We just love and appreciate you each and every Saturday. You are live with us 4 to 5 p.m. We're going to run over a little bit late today on Sundays from 6 to 8, 6 to 7. We are live as well. So just want to say thank you. And you know, we all know that mental health though is like a really big thing. And it affects a lot of people. And you know, a lot of times it can be pushed under the rug. Nobody wants to talk about it, especially if someone is going through like depression or sadness. And when you are in the company of others, it's easy to try to assimilate and act as if everything is okay.
Right.
And then you go home and then, you know, then you bury yourself in, you know, all those different things. So talk to us a little bit about that, especially if that person has a partner at home. What do you think? Like, what are some of the ways that even the partners can identify that the spouse or that partner has some kind of mental health issue, maybe depression? And we know depression versus sadness is different.
Right.
So we can just, you know, how can they identify it, even if they're not diagnosed?
Well, a lot of times, like we said, people kind of push it down. They kind of bury their emotions. And when you have a partner, a lot of times you can't pick up on those things. So sometimes just asking, you know, how they're feeling, and what can you kind of do to help them push through this just push through the sadness. They might not even want to necessarily identify it as depression because of the stigma that's associated with it.
Yeah.
So they just having a open, honest conversation, being there physically for them, just letting them know that they have a safe space within you. I think that is very much one of the first steps to try to help them along this journey of mental health.
Okay. What do you think, Apostle?
Well, when I knew I was going to be on the show, I tried to do some research, and I realized that depression is a disorder that shows persistent feelings of sadness and loss, and then you could get into manic depression and bipolarism and so on. The thing is, sometimes mental health is hidden in, or what should I say? Let me don't put hidden in. Sometimes people are going through mental health issues, and even if you're trying to help them, because you asked, I just heard your co-host said that you could just ask questions. There's some people, their answer will be, "I am fine." Everything
Yeah.
is going on. I am fine. You just lost a
Mm-hmm.
loved one. I am fine. You got fired from your job. I am fine. You have to know that there's some things that's supposed to engender certain behavioral patterns. And if that is not the case, if somebody's laughing too much when they should be sad, mental health. If they're too sad too long, mental health. So even if you ask them and their answer sounds good, you've got to know how to read between the lines and know that that is not really what it's supposed to be. So I think that way you can identify mental health or mental disorders.
What do you think, Yola?
I think that there are so many different types of mental health issues that sometimes you may be suffering from that you may not disclose to your partner. You know, so I think that it's good to identify what it is, but it's also important that the person that's suffering from the mental issue, if they've been diagnosed, that they are in a safe space that they can tell their partner that I suffer from whichever one it is, and then some type of communication to know how to deal with it in that situation of a relationship. I just wonder if there's people out there that are suffering from some type of mental issue that are not diagnosed or that are diagnosed but are afraid to share that with their partner. And their partner might be thinking that there's something wrong with me when it's not that person at all. It's really the person's mental issue that they're suffering from. And I often wonder what are the different types that somebody can be dealing with in a relationship.
The different types of depression.
Yeah, there's different types of depression. There's major depression, overall depression, and these things can sometimes manifest into, like Apostle was saying, bipolar disorder, dissociative disorder, and kind of compound on each other. But I think like everybody was saying, just checking in with your partner, maybe not asking them, how are you today? Like, how are you feeling emotionally? Is there anything I could do to make this day a little bit easier for you? Just asking some more deeper questions can help them come to terms, one, with the fact that they might be dealing with something more than sadness, or kind of get them to open up about what they actually might be feeling and if they want some help.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, trying to get them to communicate, because we know that when someone's struggling with that,
Right,
they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk. They're struggling to communicate their conversation. That kind of conversation is very difficult for someone to have. How do they get past the self-esteem part of it to be able to say, it's okay for me to talk to someone about it, even then this is my partner. Like, I need to, is it even fair not to say up front, like, this is something that you're dealing with, even before you even.
I don't know if we can say this. It's not fair. I think like we often say that people don't really want to admit to it, or they might not necessarily know themselves that they actually have a diagnosis. So there may be some embarrassment or some confusion with that. But I think like you all can say, like creating a safe space for the person, and then sometimes like Yola, I think she touched on when you're the partner of someone that's dealing with mental health, you may feel like it's something that you're doing to upset them or cause the depression, or they're having explosive anger. It's things that you're doing. But it's kind of getting out of the way of your own self and letting them kind of know that you're there for them, and then pushing them towards some help, maybe, if they're at that point. So.
Feel free to
Sister
jump in,
Kimone,
guys. Yes, sir. Yes, the boss. Sorry. Yes, the boss.
mental health, and I know we can't explore all the nuances of mental health on this particular program because we're trying to keep it within the context of a relationship. The problem, and I'm thinking that you mean a marital relationship or a boyfriend girlfriend relationship. Is that correct? I just want
Yeah,
to.
I mean, we can make it broad too, even with just among friends. That's fine as well. Yeah, just
Okay,
relationships
so
in general, you know.
I found that mental health consists of mood disorders, anxiety disorders, personality disorders, psychological disorders like schizophrenia. And one of the things is, I mean, I was just intrigued by, and probably your co-host can shed some light on it. I was just intrigued by this concept of schizophrenia, where reality is so distorted that the person lives in their own particular reality. So that even if you, as the partner or as the person in relationship with them, you can actually become the object of their mental health, even if you did not cause it. So even if you are trying to help them
Mhm.
uh, get better, get help, it's almost you have become the enemy instead of a friend. And it is intriguing. And I'm saying we can't go through all the nuances of mental health, but you've got to be able to recognize sometimes I'm not even able to help this person to get help. And then you find yourself in a conundrum because you may love this person, you may care about this person seriously, but whatever has caused this mental health and getting it to that level or to that stage, um, you probably don't know. You probably have no clue. It could be something in their past, something that just triggered. They lost a loved one or somebody that they've seen that they haven't seen from a long time. Somebody that abused them that has now surfaced in their present. So trying to even help someone like that or even questioning them at that level, and probably I'm taking it too deep, but becomes now is almost like it's a recipe for a failed relationship. I don't know if you want to comment on that.
Mm. What do you think, huh?
I definitely agree. Sometimes you can become the object of that person's obsession. Sometimes you can become the object of that person. You can become their their target because they don't have anybody else around them, and they kind of take that stuff out on you. I think just taking a step back and thinking about reality, like Apostle was saying, everybody experiences their own form of reality. We think of reality as a map, like map reality. Everybody experiences life different with their own emotions, thoughts, and behaviors from childhood on. So I agree with him when he was saying about, not really knowing what to do. At that point, it's really looking outside the relationship, not necessarily looking on the internet or TikTok, but trying to find professional help. That can come a step in because we go when we need help with health reasons, we go to a medical doctor. If we need help with weight, we go to a professional, like a
Trainer.
trainer. Thank you, trainer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if this is outside your realm of expertise, please try to reach out and get them some. If they're willing, let's not trying to force it can only make it worse sometimes.
Yeah, I would think that if you don't have experience in it, you could, like you said, Dwan, make it worse. What you might think is something that is helping the person that you're with might be having the opposite effect. And that kind of makes me wonder if you're someone that knows that you suffer from a mental health issue. I guess depending on the type of mental health issue, should you even think about being in a relationship? I think it sounds kind of harsh, but if you're thinking, well, maybe I'm not ready, or maybe, I need somebody that can actually understand what I'm going through. I think being somebody that suffers from mental illness, it is hard to navigate or figure out who you should or shouldn't be with, or who you can and can't disclose what you're going through with. Because I would think it would be hard to get in a relationship with someone and you're the person that has the mental issue, and you would want somebody that can handle what it is that you're going through when you have those times of deep depression or alternate realities, or those type of issues. um, I think it's hard to navigate for a person that suffers from any type of mental issue being in a relationship. I find that it seems like it's a really lonely life, in my opinion, unless you can find somebody that can help you through it when you are going through an episode, or help you, or somebody that has enough experience or knowledge to take a step back when you need them to take a step back.
Mhm, mhm. So yeah, I think I agree with you, Yola. I think we need to not discount people that are dealing with mental health and are able to manage it. So yes, when somebody has unchecked mental health, I would say not the best way to enter a relationship or continue a relationship. But there are lots of people out here that are getting mental health help. They know how to, when they're having an episode, to regain control. So just trying to figure out, are they on it? Are they taking their meds? Are they going to therapy? When they are, and you feel like they're kind of acting outside themselves, can they bring themselves back? So I think both sides of that needs to, be acknowledged.
Can they bring themselves back? That's good. All right. And Apostle, you talked about the root causes, finding out what are the triggers, and that's extremely, extremely valuable, I think, for someone to be able to identify, hey, wait a minute, because you could start your day wonderful. You get up, you take your shower, you go to work, you travel, everything is great. You're at work, you're having a fantastic day, and then the boss or somebody might say something to you on your way leaving the job, like you've had a great day, and then something triggers it, and you're just like, oh my god, and then everything spirals throughout the evening. Right? Is that really how it works? Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about that, like that triggers it. Is it hard to like come back, get back to the normalcy?
Yeah, it's called like therapy is called like a baseline. So it's kind of hard. Sometimes like I was saying earlier, if you have the skills, like the coping skills, I think that you learn in therapy, it can take a little bit of time, but you can get back to baseline. But when, like I said, there's unchecked mental health, and you don't have these coping skills, it's kind of hard to come back from those things, because then, like you said, it kind of snowballs and gets a little bit worse. So kind of having a lot of self-awareness and knowing what your triggers are and having a plan to get back from wherever you're going to baseline, that definitely can help.
What are some of the plans that
it would be like something like as far as learning how to do coping strategies such as meditation. Sometimes people do yoga. Sometimes people cope with coloring books, or
breathing exercises?
Thank you, breathing exercises, or something like that. So just having those kind of things in your repertoire can definitely help.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
How about when the coping mechanism or the tool you use is alcohol or marijuana, or which is now legal in New York City, or um sex? What do you do with that? How do
Well,
you
those are negative coping skills, so we don't want to use those. But those are definitely some of the ways people cope, because that's the only way, those are usually most accessible. Don't really have to do much, just got to go get it, right? And it's kind of there for you, and you've always went back to that, and it's comfortable. So, like I said, the negative coping skills, which is the ones that Apostle kind of just identified, and the positive ones that I was just talking about. So it's kind of learning those positive coping skills and practicing them. Like anything else new, you have to keep learning and doing it over and over again until it becomes second nature. So
I can't imagine medication, if you're on medication plus taking the drugs, like if I'm sure that can fuel something even worse. Obviously, drugs make it bad by itself, right? So if you're taking medication, that's gonna increase the doozies that occurs.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
How
Yeah,
about
but
excessive eating? Because that's not we don't see it as something bad to do like sex or alcohol or some kind of drug. But sometimes people, to cope with their mental health, they excessively eat or they excessively shop.
or they
Or
don't eat.
uh,
Right, right.
there's
Okay.
some that
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't eat, and then there's some that eats too much. Or I'm just I'm throwing it out because I want to get a response on it. How about those coping skills? Uh, what do you think
Okay.
of those?
I think that, excessive eating or not eating are mental health issues in themselves. I don't think those are coping mechanisms.
Mm,
Yeah, I
Okay.
think those are also mental issues that people have to deal with in relationships. Like there's some careers that, because of pressure, you have to be a certain body type, and it
Mhm.
leads to, under eating or not eating or purging your meals, which in essence is also a mental health issue versus a coping mechanism.
Right.
It's actually a mental health issue. And then the
Mhm.
person that you're with who doesn't suffer from that has to see you going through that, which takes a toll on that relationship.
Mhm.
You know, yeah. In that case, I don't know how they deal with that, with the under eating and having to see your person hurt their body in that way. 'Cause I think that's a way of hurting your body, but it is a mental health issue. People that suffer from that also go to therapy to come up with mechanisms to not overeat or not eat at all.
Mhm. We have a comment. Hey, Miss Barbie, how are you? She said, I know people who do that on medication, taking drugs, and don't seem to care. Because at this point, and thank you for sharing,
Mhm.
and that's true. They probably don't seem to care. They might, it could be two things. I don't know.
Mhm.
It could be where, hey, I think I don't like myself anymore anyway. Or I
Right.
don't love my life. So if I die, I die. Because
Mhm.
people say, hey, I only have one life to live anyway, right?
Mhm.
Or they might have just given up. Or why? Why would someone not care? What are the things that you see?
I think you touched on it. Like after a while, sometimes they get on the meds. The meds don't really work right away. People are always looking for, especially nowadays, looking for immediate
Yeah,
gratification.
a quick fix.
Quick fix medication that takes at least 3 to 6 months for it to actually start taking.
Oh,
And then if
wow.
that's your own, if your previous negative coping skill was to use drugs, you're gonna go back to that. So it's just something, like I said, that's familiar. So yes, when people are taking medication and taking drugs, they don't seem to care. A lot, like Kimone was saying, they're kind of giving up, or it's the medication's not catching up quick enough to them where they see a change, an immediate change, so they get frustrated and things like that, and then they fall back into the negative coping skills. Like when we exercise, we diet, eat, and they're like, oh, I gained 4 pounds. Let me just go to the buffet. So it's kind of similar.
Okay.
Or sometimes wonder if in the taking of medication, or not the medication that's supposed to help, but like drugs, for the coping mechanism, is it because it makes what you're feeling go away? Because I find that people that are drug addicts, that is why they're taking it, because it makes whatever they're feeling feel better, or they don't feel as bad or bad at all because they don't really
Right.
feel anything. But
And
yeah,
it's a quick fix.
and it's a quick fix.
Instant
Yeah,
gratification.
it's a
So
quick fix.
drugs are easier to access. A lot of times people don't have access to psychiatrists to get actual medications, so the drugs are easier to access. And like we're saying, like the instant gratification, I take this drug, I know in the next 5-10 minutes, I'm not going to feel anything. I don't have to feel any emotions. And this is easier.
Is the medication expensive?
Yes.
Like, do you have to, like, what if someone doesn't have like insurance, or does how much does insurance usually cover?
I'm not sure of the numbers, but medications can be $10 or $1,000 or one pill. So it just depends on what mental health illness they're dealing with, their insurance, like you said, if they even have insurance. And then like now there's a shortage of medications, so people that are on medication can't get their meds. So that's a whole lot.
There's a shortage of medication. I know for depression right now, there's 5% of people, the population is dealing with depression. 5%, that's a lot. Yep. And that's only depression. So what about the other ones? Like, so I can imagine like so many people going through it that the medication is running out. And then the dosages, if you start out on a low dosage, maybe you get 2 milligrams. And then all of a sudden you're like, hey, this is not helping. They have to increase it. So
and there's a medication shortage. It's a lot of stuff that America's run out of. I know there's a whole thing. I'm hoping the government's going to do something, but I don't know. Hopefully.
Yes, we hope.
We hope, yeah. Because a lot of people need help. Yeah.
Wow. I posted it online. I had asked the question. So you have mental illness that interferes with your relationship. How do you handle it? And someone said, Desmond, Amy, hey, Mr. Amy, he said, I stay alone, stay quiet and play music. So that's one of the things that he does to cope.
It's a coping skill. Very good.
Diamond Jackson said, pray. Ask God for healing. Recognize that the mental illness is first and fall back from people until you have corrected or overcome that illness. Won't be easy. Mental illness is real. Thank you, Diamond. And then I said, true, it is. So many are undiagnosed as well. Holding it from your partner is what many people do. Is that right? And she said, I have seen this over and over in adults and children. Working with special need kids for over 10 years showed me that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree most of the time. And most people with mental illness think they're perfectly normal thinkers, and they're not. So it's a consistent battle with people around them. They begin to feel like nobody's understanding them and they're the only ones making sense. OMG. Oh my God.
That's the schizophrenia.
Go ahead. So what did you say?
No, I'm saying that's the schizophrenia. In my time, in my counseling, I have come across people that have taken up bad behavior, drinking, clubbing, partying, whatever they do. And it has led to depression in their lives. I know somebody has had for years, one homosexual bout. And because of that, they adopted the lifestyle. And several years later, they are in severe manic depression. And to get them to go to a counselor, to get them to get help, they won't even admit the reason for them becoming depressed. So they are drinking and drinking and drinking. And recently, um, it's like they almost overdose because their body is now becoming, I mean, just weak and frail and so on and so forth. The thing is, again, that person they may not be in a relationship where they live with the person, but they would have a relationship, but they still live at home. Do you understand what I mean? So who's facing the mental health challenges with them? Their parents, their siblings, along with the person whoever they're in relationship with. So I'm saying what I'm highlighting here is that sometimes the person has to take responsibility. The person has to identify where this thing began. The person has to take responsibility for their particular action. And I know it's mental health, but to get healed, somebody said pray. Yes, pray is good, but it is not fair that you live your entire life with somebody who refuses to get help and they are the sick one. And I'm a pastor. I'm an apostle, and this may not sound too churchy for you people who are sitting around, but the reality is, if you are sick, if you know you have cancer, if you know you have diabetes, and you keep eating sugar, you have decided to kill yourself. but I should not live with that because you've decided it. Because what happens, and probably I'm saying too much, but let me finish with this. What happens is that sometimes your mental health causes my mental health to go out of whack because I'm living with you and you are not getting, you have decided not to get help. Then the person that sits in the corner, they find themselves sitting in that corner more than they should be, just so that they don't displease, just so that they don't aggravate this other person who has mental health issues. Eventually, they develop mental health disorders also. I don't know what's your comment, but
Wow, that's good.
That was
What
good.
you think, Yola?
Yeah, I agree with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not much to say about that.
I wish I could record it right. I need to put it.
Yeah. But that's great. Awesome. And you said something that's very, very important. It's unfair for you to know you have this illness and you're not treating yourself,
Mhm.
but you expect me now to be able to deal with what you're going through. You're not diagnosed, you're not taking care of it, and then that messes with my mental health illness. I think that is wow. I think wow. I think that's
re-
selfish. I think that's
recently,
selfish in one sense. Huh?
recently a mother called me and rushed over to the house, found her son almost non-responsive and so on and so forth. And when you get into the room, I mean, you could just, it was just a complete mess, so on and so forth. And that was the only time she could get in because I was there. The point I'm making is, again, you have to know that there are certain cases of mental health that has gone past, because we have an audience that's listening to us, that has gone past your ability to help the person.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to be helped,
Mm.
you have to know that sometimes separation from that person may be the beginning for them to be helped, because sometimes what we do, we enable them
If they're depending on you, yeah.
in a,
Codependency.
as they depend on you to live, to
Yeah.
eat, you enabling them to keep that behavioral pattern going. Yes,
Yeah.
they are sick, but sick people need professionals to help them get well. Just as if you have a physical disease, you go to a doctor. I think one of your co-hosts was saying that early on. If you know, you can look at yourself. And I asked someone recently, when you look in the mirror,
We're not hearing you. We're not hearing you, sir.
mirror,
Oh,
is this what you're seeing? Or then I took another picture of them before the issue. Or do you see this? Which one of these people do you see? And it is important um, to bring them to an understanding. I may know you need help, but you have to know who you are right now is not the best of you. And if you keep going down this road, you're just creating more sadness, more, not just in yourself, but in the people who care about you. So
Right.
it is, sometimes it becomes a conundrum, even in trying to help someone who refuses to recognize. And number two, may have gotten to the point where unless they get medical help, unless they get psychiatric help, they are going to die from this
Yeah.
thing. Because whether we believe it or not, mental health could lead you to the point of yes or no. I mean,
That's good.
it's just I'm just illustrating an experience that I've had. So I wait
Wow.
for your comment.
That's great. That's good. We have a comment. You want to read this? Can you read this one, Leticia?
yes, I can. We
Praying.
have a
Shit.
comment
Barbie.
from Barbie.
Hello.
Praying for you, Desmond. No one knew while I was teaching that I am autistic
Are
and
you
had
hearing me or no?
ADHD.
Or
I
am I
hid it
off?
in my job and relationships because I was afraid.
Oh yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know Barbie. Yeah, we worked together.
Yeah, and
Hello.
that was because of the comment that Desmond had before that says trying to figure out if I had PTSD, still working on looking for a therapist. And Bobby said we are experiencing that. My daughter can't get her meds because of the shortages, which Dwan had talked about. And they have to go really far to find it. Desmond also said we have something in common. I'm autistic too. And then Mr. Egbert Allen says one of the biggest hurt is when you are trying to get help for someone who refuses to accept the help that is being provided for their mental health. Very true. Um, Shanika said, "Oh man, he could be talking about my entire family." I'm sorry to hear that. Desmond, Amy said, "I have undiagnosed depression disorder also." And then Desmond Young said, YouTube follower, "I was told mental illness was demonic possession. Since you are a man of the cloth," so this is for Apostle.
Yeah,
Since
say it
you
again,
are,
since he's just
Could,
coming
yes.
could,
back
could
in.
you could
So
you
I
say it
was
again
told
because
mental illness
I
was
was out, I didn't
demonic
hear you.
possession. Since you are a man of cloth, should I stay with someone who has a demon?
Did you hear that, Apostle?
Say it again. Sorry.
All right, he
If
just came in.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
go ahead.
So let me read the comment again. It's from one of our YouTube followers, Desmond Young. His comment was, "I was told mental illnesses was demonic possession. Since you are a man of the cloth, should I stay with someone who has a demon?"
Hmm.
well, my advice will be they have to get delivered. Yeah,
You have to get
if
delivered.
yes, mental illness can lead to demonic possession because what he uses the things and he
You're
empowers it.
coming. You're in and out. You're in and out. You're in and out. Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, he uses the things that affect us negatively and he empowers it. So there can be demonic oppression, demonic possession come upon someone, and it is diagnosed naturally as mental depression or mental health disorder. If that person is delivered and behavioral change is made instantly, you know it is demonic. Or if prayer is being made and a voice comes out of that person that is not theirs, they begin to convulse, they begin to throw up. But when the prayer is finished, when they are delivered, they'll come back to a normal person. If that is not the case,
Yeah.
then it is not demonic. But a demonic person has to be delivered. If that demonic person does not want to be delivered, it is not my advice to stay with them. Because the
Okay.
truth is that person can be transformed into anything at any time. Go ahead.
All right.
Okay.
That's good. That's good.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Can you proceed?
Shanika said we have two family members in the hospital now because of either not taking their meds, I don't need an attitude, or taking other drugs while on meds, and we can't convince either one to do right.
Hmm. Okay. And she said, Apostle, you are so right. We just had this conversation with my family today. Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. It's and it's something else. Miss Barbie. I don't need it attitude. I think that's the part that you know um
Mhm.
that can throw everybody off
Yes.
a lot and make everybody nobody want to be around you.
Mhm.
Then now you're causing another problem because now you're in isolation, right? So what do we say to a person that is just like, hey, one, many things, I don't need it.
Mhm.
Two,
There's something wrong with
hey,
me.
there's nothing wrong with me. I'm pretty normal.
Yeah.
Like, honey, what do you say to them?
Well, when people are dealing with that, of course, they're dealing with their emotions, or like we say, they think they're okay, but they think that they're okay because they've been coping with their mental health in the way that they've done in the past. So they think, okay, this is working. Nobody really they don't think that what they're doing is wrong, the wrong way to go about it. So yeah. And then sometimes when people say they don't need the medication, it's because sometimes they have been on medication and medication didn't work,
Mm-hmm.
and they felt like, okay, I'm still able to function without it. Two, they were taking the medication, and the medication was making them feel not like themselves. A lot of times, people take medication, they gain weight, they lose weight. It doesn't sit right with their stomach. Like the dosage may be too high, the dosage may be too low. So they don't stick with it. Like once they don't feel good, they don't want to take it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if Barbie can necessarily get them to actually take the meds, but maybe trying to get them to get with another psychiatrist or another therapist that might be able to tweak the meds that maybe that they may be able to function correctly with. So finding a therapist, finding a psychiatrist is really hard. A lot of people are taking their mental health more seriously nowadays, and a lot of people are looking for help. But I still encourage you to try to help them find new therapists, new psychiatrists that may be able to give them the right combination of meds that will work for them, that they are willing to take, and some therapy and some therapists that they can really get the work done with.
So, but what about the side effects? And there's side effects that can cause other things too, right? That you're just like, hey, I don't like it.
Yes, I mean, there's nothing you can do with the side effects. You have to find the right combination of meds with this that you can function with the side effects. Unfortunately, we don't really know everybody's body and how the medication is going to affect their bodies, but it's getting to the right combination of meds to where that it is you're able to function with them, unfortunately.
And I also find that one point that you made, Dwan, about maybe finding another therapist to help you, because I find that in finding the right therapist, maybe the first one, the second one is not someone that you feel heard. And it might just be that one therapist that is not hearing how you're feeling. So you don't feel really safe or feel that this person is hearing what you're saying, is actually helping you in your fight. So perhaps trying to find another therapist, Miss Barbie, for your family members might be a good route to find somebody that they might be more comfortable with, that can encourage them a different way to take their medicine, or at least convince them that they need medication so that they can start taking it and start getting healthy.
We have a comment. Egbert Allen.
Egbert Allen says, it is all well and good to say that we need to separate ourselves from the person who is under mental health attack, but leaving them to deal with this spiritual problem might be more harmful than helpful. If prayers can help, then nothing else can.
I want to jump in on that, please.
Go ahead.
Okay.
The Bible says faith without works is dead.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You can have a lot of faith for someone, but they have to have faith for themselves. If you have jurisdiction over the person, whereas they in a state where you can take them to the doctor, you can decide because you have medical proxy for them. It's different to just dealing with someone, especially an adult, who refuses to deal with their issue. People have prayed and they have died. People have prayed and have committed suicide. People have
True.
prayed and have gone crazy. So it's not just, I mean, it sounds religious, it sounds good, but it's religious. There are some mashkatu. You see, I talk in tongues all the time. There are some people, and God witness to me when I'm talking the truth. There are some people who have decided not to take responsibility for their action. If I sin, I have a consequence. If there are some people, they will drink, they'll get drunk, and I can give you examples of people I've dealt with, sometimes famous people that you may even know. They're drunk, they get drunk, they come home, they beat their wife. When they get up in the morning, they don't know that they did it. They're looking at the woman bruised and battered and asking her, how did you get that? I know of a young man, and his mother told his wife, go back to your home because this boy is not getting better. His mother told his wife that. So the truth is, yes, prayer, we are praying, we are believing God, but also you cannot leave yourself in danger because someone refuses to help themselves or refuses to get the help that is needed. And that is what I was saying. So I'm not saying just abandon your loved one. No, you're working with them. But there comes a time where tough love comes in. I know
Yeah.
of a particular lady. A child is grown and everything like that. And she is literally afraid to live in her own house she's paying the mortgage for because of the behavior of her child. And I'm like, no, get that person a room, get them an apartment, and let them live their life because you can't be paying for your home. And because they have decided to have this particular behavioral pattern that is leading them to depression and anxiety and sadness consistently, you have to pay for that. It's not right. It's not fair. So we continue to pray, but we also must act. Faith without works is there, and
That
I'm not objecting to where the commentator where their faith level is. But if your faith level is if you are that faith level, they shall lay hands on the sick, they shall recover. That's what the Bible says. If you're not recovering, then we have to check the laying on of hands or what the issue really is.
Oh, his response to you, Apostle, he's saying, are you saying that there is something more powerful than prayer? I think he's not on this. Go ahead, respond to
Ye-
that. He's saying, are you saying that there's something more powerful than prayer?
yes, the Bible says we must pray with the understanding. There is something more powerful than prayer. It is praying with the understanding, because there are certain levels of things, and I believe in demonic attacks, I believe in spiritism, spirituality. There are certain levels that I won't even touch, because if God has not empowered me to do it, I won't get it done. God has given wisdom in spiritual things, in natural things, in mental things, in psychological things to certain people. There are people gifted. If you are going through something, they'll give you one vaccination and it'll bring you back to normal. And those are the things we have to recognize even as Christians. And when you come back to normalcy now, you can go through the required counseling. Are you still hearing me? You can go
Yes,
through
we're
the
Yes,
hearing
I
required
hear
you.
you.
you can go through the required counseling that alters the behavioral pattern. And I've had some of those in my
Thank you.
experiences also. So I'm not knocking prayer. I That's prayer is what I do. I'm saying when you pray, God sends you an answer. And most of the time, the answer is not in the instant deliverance. It is a process to deliverance. When the
Prayer is a
man with the
process.
leprosy, when the man with the leprosy, he discovered that he was healed. Bishop, you're doing good. He discovered, so it meant it wasn't instant. As he kept
Mm.
walking, he discovered. As you keep going to counseling, I have gone to counseling as a pastor, as an apostle. I've gone through traumatic issues in my life. I lost my two parents in the same year, and so on and so forth. So I have gone through counseling, and I have cried in the counseling chair like every all normal human beings.
Mhm.
So there's no uh, humiliation in going through the process. Go
Right.
through the process, feel the pain, go through the issue, and come out on the other side better than you started.
Mhm.
That's good. That's good.
We
Yeah.
have another comment by another YouTube follower. Ain't it true? Says, I got a question. I recently quit my job because I'm trying to live my soft guy life and I get a check for mental illness, but my wife wants me to work because my crazy check bringing money. What you think I should? I want to leave her because she ain't helping my soft guy journey.
Soft guy journey.
Certified journey.
What's the soft guy
I
journey?
think you mean like somebody that wants to not work and stay home, like soft girl journey.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I think you're right. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So what do you think? You saying he wants to leave her because she's not helping with that journey.
But we don't really know exactly what she's not
Is
helping. Like,
is
is it that you want her
is
to work?
is
You don't want her.
she the mental health or he has the mental health?
Say that again.
Is she the
You're
one with the
breaking up,
mental
sir.
health or is I don't know. Is she the one with the mental health or is he the one with the mental health?
I think they both do.
um, well, he's stating that he's the one with it because he's getting a check.
A check for mental health.
But his wife wants him to work because his crazy check is not bringing in enough. I believe that's what you're saying.
Mhm.
Well, I think that communication again is going to be best, and for you to be able to weigh in on it. What is it that we do want? I mean, is this mental illness something that is new? Did a trauma occur? Have you spoken to your wife about it? Do you want to just leave because you're frustrated because now the finances are different? Did you talk to her about leaving your job? What kind of conversation did you have? Or did you just say, hey, I'm diagnosed with this. I'm no longer going to work. I'm just going to collect my check. So those conversations definitely needs to be had with you and your wife. And, we definitely won't tell you to leave your wife without knowing and talking to your wife, communicating, probably getting therapy for both of you, and making sure that the decision that you make, because it is a lifelong decision, is going to be the best for both of you. Yeah, that's what I think.
I
Okay.
agree.
Yes, I agree.
All right. So Barbie was saying she's not the expert, but she thinks so on something that we had said before. I think, are we all caught up with the comments?
I think it's right there. I didn't want to talk about this Barbie, the one up top of the expert, where she said that they feel normal on the meds and then they don't need it anymore.
Mhm.
That's another common problem. Like people get on the meds are actually working for them. Like, oh, I feel back to my normal self, and they don't want to take them anymore. So I think I encourage people that are on meds to continue to taking the medication. Mental health is a lifelong journey. It's not something that's going to it'll get better, not 100% go away because you're taking the medication. So just continue to take the meds, continue to work with work in therapy, and hopefully one day they will listen to you, Barbie. But just encourage them, that the medication is something that needs to continue to be taken.
It's funny that you said that, because I have students that are on meds as well, and they would say the same thing because they feel better. Like, but the med did its job. It did its job. It regulated you. It got you to where you need to be. Okay, so now that you feel 100%, you feel like yourself again, and you're like, I don't need them. Wait. Remember, the med is what helped you, right?
Yeah.
To
Not
get
like cold
to that
meds.
spot.
Not like cold meds.
Right. So if it works, don't try to change it, because if you do get off of them, then it's going to make you get back to that, and then it's just going to be a spiral, right?
Regress, yes.
Regress, and it's going to be a spiral. All right, so it's getting to that time. And the truth says that crazy check bringing more money in than she is. Well,
Yeah, I think you guys just need to talk a little bit more.
Conversation.
We need to have a conversation
Yeah.
to be had between
Yeah.
the two of you. I'm not sure if it's because she doesn't like that she has to work and you get to stay home.
Yeah, it could be
Because
that too.
the check is, the same or close to what you were making before, maybe that's not the issue. Maybe it's something else. So
Yeah. Well, what about trust? I hope she trusts you. Maybe she's like, wait a minute, you're home. I don't know where you are, what you're doing, and I'm at work. It's not gonna work, right? But it could be it too. So have that conversation. Have that conversation, guys. But we have to do our final thought.
Okay, so final thought. My final thought is going to be my Yoli's thought, and it's going to be short and sweet. So today I went to Body Pop Fitness. Had a great job. Body Pop. Shout out to Rachel, Body Pop. Thank you, doing your thing, making the whole Body Pop crew work out and move our bodies. We thank you. I say that to say that when I was doing my video, because I video every time that I do my workout, and I looked back at the video, and I'm like, I make all of these strange faces. And so on my way home, I was saying to myself, I think what I want to talk about today is for us going in this week to embrace our quirkiness and strange things about us, because that is what makes us unique. So, when we talk about self-care and going to the spa and getting our feet and our nails done, it's more than that. It's also a mental check-in to make sure that you accept you, that you love yourself. We know that God loves us and he wants us to love ourselves too. So love yourself. Do a little check. Accept your uniqueness. Know that that is what makes you you, and it's beautiful and acceptable. And if someone else doesn't quite like your quirkiness and how I am at 150% after I work out, then that's just who I am. I love that I am that way. And I want all of us to go in this week accepting us, ourselves, accepting our quirkiness, our uniqueness, and the things that make us beautiful and lovable. That's my final thought.
Amazing. Apostle, final thought?
Whoa, I want to read something. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Praise the Lord. I want to read something here because we're talking about relationships. I saw, let me just read this to you. Partners or people in relationship can encourage each other to improve their well being. They may include urging each other to follow a healthy diet or pursue work life balances. Couples may and should engage in healthy activities together, supporting one another's interests and finding mutual interests over which they can bond. I hope you got that. That's my final thoughts. Encouraging each other, being there for each other, and bonding with each other. It's going to prevent a lot of mental health issues in relationships.
Amazing. Thank you. Go ahead, therapist.
Oh,
And tell them where they can find you, please.
oh yes. I'm not picking new clients right now, but I probably will in a couple months. But you find me a therapist or Fiverr. I do some empathetic listening for people that may not have for people that may not have insurance. They can still, get a chance to talk or, about whatever you want, and I can try to, help you out. So that's just me trying to help with my mental health advocacy. I think everybody needs to have access to mental health, and this is my way of helping. So my final thought is that I always encourage mental health, going to therapy, actually doing the work in therapy. I want to bring one point before. When you go into therapy, it's not a magical fix. So when you are in therapy, just please try to do the work. If you are not clicking with your therapist, I encourage you to look for somebody else. Just like any relationship, you have to click. And then as far as in relationships, like the apostle was saying, be supportive, but don't try not to overstep and try to do the work for them. Just encourage them, be supportive, be there for them, be a safe space for them. And especially if somebody has unchecked mental health or checked mental health, they're going to need the same type of things. So,
All right. We have our friends on Instagram. Michael Russell is on, and he said, Apostle looking fly as always. He's loving your glasses. Kevin, thank you for being with us. We don't like comedy join. Hey, guys, thank you so much for being with us here on the Positive Voices Show. We truly love you and appreciate your time. Go back and listen to this. Yeah, we're live on radio, but you can also find us on YouTube where you can go back and listen to this show. Mental health, guys, is extremely important. For you to be able to be well for others, you have to be well for yourself. Take the time and do that deliberate check and figure out, when we talked about depression, are you depressed or are you just sad? Look into it, speak to a therapist, definitely continue to pray and make sure you are your best for yourself. And because whatever you are for yourself is what's going to reflect for others. We want to thank you guys. Love on yourself. You Choose Radio listeners. We love you. Viscosity Blend, Zion Highness Radio, and Reggae Global Radio. Guys, thank you so much for being with us. YouTube family, thank you. Instagram, Facebook, guys, we love you. Y'all have a wonderful week. Please, if you need checking, if you need to kind of figure out what's going on, speak to somebody, speak to a therapist, speak to somebody. Suicide is not the answer. Drugs is not the answer. Alcohol is not the answer. We want to be well. I want you well. Love you guys. You take care. God bless.
Blessings.